Am I pretty loud? Like, I don't need a microphone, right? By the way, nothing was actually stolen in the making of this film. Okay, we purchased that bag of chips. Questions?
It's a comment. I really like the film. It's a typical Toronto story.
Yeah.
It is so Toronto. You have no idea.
I mean, during the making of the film, we, lack of better terms, we weren't in the shithole that we're in right now. But, you know, it really does showcase the problems that a lot of us are facing currently right now. So, yeah. And that's kind of what I wanted to, through her writing, I wanted to also showcase that as much as possible.
Yes, hi. What happens next? What happens next? After, sorry? So basically, I'll just kind of elaborate a little bit about the story. Even though we are seeing that the main character, Jasmine, gets kicked out of her apartment because of just basically what's going on now, post-COVID with inflation and the cost of housing and rent, and it just gets crazy, and the job market is terrible, as we know. But apart from that, I kind of wanted to show how hard it is for people sometimes to accept help. And there's like this thing with their ego where, oh no, I can do it myself, I'm independent, where there's no such thing as independence. We all need each other. It's just impossible. We need food to survive, we need a family support to help you get you going, and I know a lot of people don't have family. But whatever that may be, in any other scenario, whether it's family or friends or that you can trust, unfortunate enough. Luckily, Jasmine does have a home to come to, so it was just kind of her surrendering to her ego and saying, you know what, I do need help. So she goes back home, safe and sound, back to her mother. So it just kind of, basically she moves on with her life and lives her life in peace.
Just a technical question. In the fair, what were the lenses that were used to get that?
Yeah, so I guess there is a common Holy Trinity question, so I guess I can just answer that right now. The entire film was shot on a Sony A7 III. The entire film was shot on a G Master 24105, and I edited the whole project in Final Cut Pro. But yeah, it really just stems down to like really understanding your gear, understanding how much you can kind of push your camera in certain low light situations. And I really love working with like film stock, so I have that. I kind of bring that into my films where I try and make it look as modern but as old as I possibly can. And then the fair just kind of helped me, right? Like they were just my perfect assistant.
Overall feeling you guys want to it seems like from watching it seems very bittersweet the ending in terms of the world that we live in and all that. So I don't know what message do you guys find in the through the story by the character itself, because it seems like a downward slope of the mark to which it's unfortunate events that happen. They usually see in every life, so I'm just wondering what redemption is.
Right, so I'm gonna let Maria answer the overall picture of your question, but when it comes to filming something like this, at least this is what I get. Hollywood gives us the grass is greener on the other side, but unfortunately for a lot of victims in this situation, that's not the case. So I always like showcasing the absolute, real, true, ugly truth, whether it's upsetting someone or making someone being like, yeah, shit, that's a problem, we need to fix that. But at the end of the day, it's the message that matters. And that's, for me, that's always what I'm gonna try and depict in anything that I shoot.
So just to elaborate, basically what we said, but to sort of piggyback or rehash what we mentioned, the redemption for the main character of the film, it's basically to what again is just there's no such thing as ego at this point. I mean, if you're in a really tough situation, we all have the struggle of to not accept help or even want the help, but she clearly does not want them in the beginning. But also, this topic was very important to me because I knew people close to me and around me that were struggling, trying to get a stable job, trying to afford just the basic necessities of life because of inflation, because of the economy. And I didn't really see, from my surroundings, nobody was really talking about it, and whether it's those that were large or small, and bigger scale or smaller scale. So I wanted to really bring up this issue as much as I can and short on that, because it's something I'm very passionate about. This is probably what we're experiencing right now, and I think the redemption is to try and help each other as best as we can.
You wear a lot of hats in this. Is there one that's your favorite? Are you like, do you write so you can act? Do you act to help serve your writing? Do you just love doing both?
So that's a very good question. I love writing and acting at the same time. There was a lot of hats being worn in this production. There's directors and producers, cinematographer, editor, sound, operating. I will produce and act so much. But yeah, I think writing for me really helps me as an actor. Only also because there's so many roles I love to do that I haven't seen that I want to portray and act in. And so I think writing really enhances an actor to understand dialogue, understand plot, story, script analysis, and it really does help performance big time. Especially that's how I would prepare for the roles. If I didn't write a script, I would just read it like a book and write notes and understand what the dialogue, why the writer wrote this, right? And understand what the thing.
I've been watching the film over and over again, but there's one specific scenario where Jasmine is carrying the shopping cart. And is that something that you improvised when you lost the balance and then you just went fuck? And I just want to hear that because I never asked you that part.
He saw that in real time. It was an accident.
The question was about the shopping cart tipping over. I mean, we were.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. We were literally on the side of the road, like in Barrie, or closer to the Innisfil, what is it called?
It's Friday Harbor.
Friday Harbor. We literally just pulled over, and I don't know. I had this idea at the moment to be like, you know what, just walk off. Like nobody's picking you up. You're a little agitated at this point. Just walk, and then. I don't know, as she's walking with her buggy, maybe I think it like the wheel hit a rock and it just tipped over, and then everything else was improvised, like the fucking the kicking. So yeah, that's it. I think the best scenes in a film is when it just happens naturally. You're not trying to oversell what you're trying to do, and it's great when you are working with somebody that they want to do the best for the project too, and they're okay with selling even the worst scene ever, right? Or the worst scenario possible. And I give a lot of credit to Maria for that, for just saying, all right, put me in this shitty situation, I'm gonna sell it, let's go, right? And I give her a lot of credit for that.
What were you doing for lighting in a lot of the exteriors? And like especially in the fair, like there was a moment where I think the guys like attacking her, and then on the grass there were like some lights flashing. Like it seemed like a lot of stuff was planned, but I'm like, I assume you're just being smart about how you're shooting things. So it came off like you planned that. But I get wondering about the lighting.
Yeah, so everything was shot with natural lighting. I had no lighting rigs. I had no draping to block the sun. I had none of that. The only thing that I fabricated, those lights were actually flashlights. But fun fact, the gentleman that found her he's a real OPP officer in Barrie, so he was able to hand us his equipment and gear in order to get the really bright lights from the flashlights.
Cool.
Yeah. We initially were going to shoot it in an alleyway,
Yeah.
and then as we were kind of driving through, I was like, let's use the fair. So we just completely improvised and shot it at the fair. Yeah.
Thanks.
That's it. Thank you.
Thanks, really appreciate it.